Okay.
I'm so relieved it was that. I thought, oh my gosh, what did I do? Oh my goodness.
This is why we have Dave.
This is it.
Yes, I see it.
Welcome to the League of Women Voters of Snohomish County Forum for Candidates for Snohomish County Auditor. I'm Karen Madsen, member of the League. The forum is being live streamed to our League YouTube channel. To those watching us live, thanks for joining us. A recording of the forum will be available on this same YouTube channel for later viewing. We refer to these primary forums as virtual doorbelling. We'll ask a few of the kinds of questions you might ask of a candidate who came to your door, designed to give you a clear idea of each candidate's experience and the issues she or he believes are important to address. Let me provide some background on the position. The county auditor provides regional service to the county in the areas of licensing, elections and voting, recording, and animal services. Responsibilities include these: safeguard and maintain voter registration files, conduct all elections, license cars and boats, record documents and make them available to the public, provide access to public disclosure documents related to election campaigns, issue event permits, issue marriage licenses, and enforce laws and codes relating to animals and pets. Candidates for Snohomish County Auditor are Garth Fell, Cindy L. Gobel, and Robert Sutherland, who is not participating in the forum. The League thanks all the candidates for running for office, for their willingness to serve the community if elected, and for participating in this forum. It's the policy of the League to be nonpartisan. Therefore, we neither endorse nor oppose these or any other candidates or parties. We do take positions on issues which we've studied and on which we have reached consensus. The rules for participation were sent ahead of time to all candidates, and they have agreed to engage in respectful communication throughout the forum. During the question and answer period, I will pose the questions and will clearly state the amount of time allowed for each answer. We're using a countdown timer, which is visible to all the candidates, and time limits on answers will be strictly enforced. I'll change the starting order for each question, alternating candidates in the starting position to ensure a fair sequence. The order for the first question will be Cindy Gobel, followed by Garth Fell. Let's begin. Candidates will have 2 minutes to respond to this first question. Ms. Gobel, your first question is, what are the major issues you feel need to be addressed by this office? Please explain why you're focusing on these issues.
Wonderful. So the 3 issues that I think this office should be focusing on include election transparency, education and outreach, and inclusivity. So election transparency, the auditor determines how you view voting. They determine what information you are provided, they determine how it's accessed, and who can actually access it. So if you truly believe in educating the public, you're going to ensure that your services are accessible and inclusive. And that's demonstrating transparency. We see a lot of questions about people saying they don't understand the process, they don't know the process. We need to be more transparent about that. And I think that the way to do that is an education component that's been missing for a number of years. And I think that we need to answer questions, provide demonstrations, and allow for learning opportunities, which just haven't been created in the past. In regards to education and outreach, which ties into that, we need to be in the community engaging with members where they are at. People are busy, they feel overwhelmed, So we should be providing information in multiple formats, conveying messages at least 7 different times and ways. And the auditor has to get out from behind the desk and really interact with the county, the community, and be able to listen to and address issues while building trust in the office. When we look at inclusivity, we have a very diverse community, and you can't just attend one Juneteenth event and say you're providing inclusive services. There have to be there were many community events before and after that date. Current leadership, we need to value being present for our community. The auditor is capable of designating up to 10 to 15 languages in vote law. We only have 4. Those are actually provided by the Secretary of State's office. We can do more.
Thank you, Ms. Gobel. Mr. Fell?
So I've been honored to be your county auditor for the last 3.5 years, and I'm proud of what the office has accomplished. The 46 dedicated employees of the auditor's office have worked diligently under my leadership to deliver accurate, accessible, secure, transparent elections and customer-focused auditor's office services. And they've done so through challenging times of a global pandemic and dangerous political divisiveness. And while we have done great work, there are more challenges ahead. The biggest challenge we face over the next year is combating attempts to sow distrust in our elections process. Distrust can lead people to disengage, leaving decisions on who will lead important races or what measures we support to a smaller group of voters. And our efforts to build greater confidence in the elections first and foremost depend on the auditor's office delivering accurate, accessible, secure, and transparent elections. And this is a challenge I've faced successfully a number of times. In fact, I've administered over 100 elections, or nearly 100 elections, including 6 presidential elections. Building confidence in our elections also requires building greater understanding among our residents on how elections are administered and why elections can be trusted. We are diligently doing this work. During my first term, we sought support for and hired a communications officer who has helped us launch new online communication tools, putting trusted information from our office directly in front of voters and residents. And we continue to work with community partners to be trusted messengers of elections information, and are significantly increasing our in-person and online outreach to voters that have been historically underrepresented, including voters with disabilities, voters from our BIPOC communities, students, and others. We need greater participation from eligible voters in our community, and we are working hard to increase that participation. And I stand ready to bring my experience and proven leadership to these challenges.
Thank you. Candidates will have 90 seconds to respond to each of the next 2 questions. Timer, please adjust the clock accordingly. Mr. Fell, you will lead off here. What qualifications and experience make you a good choice to address these issues?
So as I mentioned, I am currently the county auditor, and I'm proud of the work we've done. In a career that spans 24 years, I'm the only candidate with management level experience running elections, or for that matter, any of the auditor's office services. Prior to serving as auditor, I was your county elections manager from 2007 to 2019, as well as the county recording manager from 2011 to 2018. I'm a state and nationally certified elections administrator. I'm recognized across the state as a leader in the field of elections, serving on the United States Elections Assistance Commission's Local Leadership Council. I'm also the only nonpartisan candidate running for county auditor. When I started administering elections 24 years ago, I committed to voters, candidates, and my staff to remain independent, impartial, and nonpartisan, ensuring voters can trust election outcomes, candidates can win knowing the results are above reproach, and staff can do the important elections work according to the law without political pressure. In some contexts, strong political allegiances are fine, just not in elections administration. And while I am nonpartisan, I have strong bipartisan support from community leaders who endorse me because they know how important it is to keep an experienced, nonpartisan professional running our elections. This includes all of our county council members, County Executive Dave Summers, former county auditors Carolyn Weichel and Bob Twilliger, and many more, which you can see on my website.
Thank you, Ms. Gobel.
Wonderful. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience as well and my years in elections, both at the county and the state. First, I have a bachelor's in human services, a master's in adult education, and a law degree from Seattle University Law School. I'm also a certified mediator. And I started my first career was 11 years in law enforcement, doing records and dispatch and animal control services. And that culminated as the communications manager. So that management experience is very important and vital to this position. I had 12 years at the Snohomish County Elections Office and 5 years at the Secretary of State's Elections Division, all of which demonstrated my ability to be nonpartisan while working in the field of elections. I have extensive community interaction with organizations such as Girl Scouts, 4-H, American Association of University Women, and National Women's Political Caucus. Many of these agencies are nonpartisan. They support candidates of a lot of different backgrounds. But I also worked with Best Schools Marysville, working with the school levy. And I think that these qualifications and experience, both at the state and the county level, are beneficial in this position and really make me with a law degree.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your response, Ms. Gobel. And you'll be first up on this next question. Again, 90 seconds for a response. Are Snohomish County election processes safe, accurate, and secure? Please explain your response and tell us what changes, if any, would you recommend?
Yeah, so for the most part, yeah. The processes are safe, they're accurate and secure. During my years at the Secretary of State's office, I trained on safe, secure, and accurate election processes. So I trained county auditors and election administrators for those 5 years. This includes information that comes from state and federal agencies. And they've done a great job keeping our elections secure and really addressing the issues as they rise over these last few years. But that doesn't mean we've become complacent. So do I trust the office and its support teams? Yes. Do I trust others? Yeah, not so much. I think we need to continue thinking about possible threats to voters and how to maintain those secure elections every time. When you're talking about changes and you're asking about changes you would recommend, we do have some new legislation that was coming around. I think I would have liked to see some two-factor authentication in vote law that didn't include our social security numbers. I think that when we're really looking at what does safety mean, I think that there's an educational component to that in working with our communities and talking about how to keep themselves safe, not only as voters, but community members, so that breaches of information don't happen. And I think that we just need to have more conversations around that so people know they have a role in maintaining our safety and security.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fell?
So yes, Snohomish County elections processes are safe, accurate, and secure. Our elections and their results have stood up to intense scrutiny and review, and our ballot processes and people have remained safe through that time. And we are not standing still. We're implementing changes to keep our elections safe, accurate, and secure. For example, seeing the increased threats on election workers following the 2020 presidential election, I drafted and approached local state representative April Berg to sponsor legislation to improve safety at our accessible voting sites and our ballot processing center for voters and elections workers. And this resulted in implementing some reasonable limits on weapons at these sites. And we continue to work with our local law enforcement and our state and federal partners to monitor both physical and cyber threats and stand ready to respond. In regard to accuracy, we continue to be a leader in this state in implementing robust auditing practices. Snohomish County was the first county in the state to implement statistically valid audits of our elections results, and we continue to conduct these audits every election. And then last year, I sought and received support and funding to improve our ballot processing facility in preparation for 2024. The improved operations will add 17,000 square feet of processing space, include additional security measures for ballots, equipment, and workers, and improve the opportunities for election observation and our outreach and education efforts. Once that's complete after the first of the year, the Snohomish County will have a facility that better supports
Thank you very
safe,
much.
accurate.
Thanks for that response. Timer, please note that candidates will have 60 seconds for our final question. Mr. Fell will lead off on this, and the question is, please tell us something about your life experience that might surprise or intrigue voters.
Yeah, so it might be intriguing to people to know that I grew up in a multi-generational household. When I was in elementary school, my grandmother came to live with us after she was involved in a car accident. And while not a perfect household, I got to witness through my parents and my grandmother how to respect each other's roles, how to be open to each other's perspectives, and even in times of conflict and disagreement, how to practice kindness, humility, and grace. And I certainly see the marks of this experience on the culture we're trying to build in the auditor's office. That culture includes knowing and performing our jobs well, treating as a starting point, or trusting as a starting point that we all have good intentions. And we want to seek the experience and perspective of others to show kindness, patience with our colleagues and customers, and pursuing honest and considerate communication. And from the comments of our customers, I'm really proud of how our staff are living out these cultural goals each day. And I'd appreciate your vote to keep the good work we're doing in the auditor's office going.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gobel.
Yeah, well, very few people know that I started out law school happily married, 2 young kids, and by the time I graduated, I was a sole parent to 2 young girls that were grieving the loss of their father and the loss of our OSO community members. I have people tell me all the time that I'm so bubbly and I'm so outgoing and happy with the world, and I tell you that's something that I work through every day. And our family has persevered through a lot, and I'm actually happy to tell everybody today that my girls have graduated and they're going to both be attending 4-year universities in the fall. One's going to be going to Western as to be a math teacher, and the other is going to be in the UW Psych department. So I think that perseverance is really important, and I think that our communities, we're looking for a more positive time. And I would just appreciate your support.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thanks to both of you for your responses to our questions. The League appreciates these candidates for joining us and for running for office. A recording of this forum and others will be available on the League of Women Voters of Snohomish County website and YouTube channel. You can find links at lwvsnoho.org. We encourage you to explore additional information about these and all candidates. The Snohomish County voter pamphlets were mailed to residences starting July 12th. Primary election ballots will be mailed starting July 13th, and Election Day is August 1st. Please be a voter. Thank you to our whole League Candidate Forum team. Tonight, our backup moderator was Vicki Roberts-Gassler. Timer was Laura Dangal. Coordinator and backup timer was Phyllis Bush, and tech host Karen Crowley. And special thanks to Dave Moon and Carissa Weichel and all of the Sultan School students at TurkPride.tv who made this live stream possible. And of course, thank you all for joining us. This concludes our candidate forum.